It's happy hour somewhere.
You're tuned in to the JANEE Latrice podcast. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. What up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to yet another episode of the JANEE Latrice podcast, the happy hour podcast, where young black creatives come together to discuss our worlds and take what we need. I am your host, performing artist, recording artist, and entrepreneur, JANEE Latrice. That's me.
In the building.
Hey guys.
Hey, girl.
What's up? I've got my friends here. In the spirit of ladies first, y'all already know my good
13 different characters.
and counting. Yeah. Can you keep up? Anyway, y'all already know my good girlfriend, who will be joining me live tomorrow on WURD 96.1 FM.
On the radio.
Okay, repping for millennial mommies everywhere. Y'all already know everybody's favorite funny honey bunny, Gloria Lewis, is in the building.
Everybody, what's going on? I just made that up. Put that shit on wax.
Bars, my nigga. It don't even matter. Bringing the charismatic controversy always. Our resident Renaissance man, actor, writer, and singer, the legendary Jerome Scott is in the building.
Legendary.
Okay.
That's new.
That's oxymoronic to say
The
that.
House of Renaissance.
You the bull.
Legendary.
Appreciate it.
Y'all already know, repping Philly by way of the Golden City is our very own Golden Butter. Ladies and gentlemen, artist and activist, my bestie, Holden Jones, is in the building.
For those of you who can't see, I'm doing the New York from the Freedom of Love.
It's a
reunion.
YouTube episode. They can see.
Oh, they can see. Oh, wow.
I thought he was about to say, for those of you who think that gospel music.
We got too radical with our message.
Well, I got news for you. Yo, shout out to Kurt.
All our people say, stomp.
Hey, yo. Listen, I'm so happy to see y'all. I miss y'all. How y'all doing? How y'all feeling? How's everybody? Happy fall,
Wavy.
y'all.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Y'all excited? Y'all like
Autumn
fall?
is the season, baby. Libra season.
It's the West Side gang signs that Holden is throwing.
Watch out there
Fall
now.
is,
Hell yeah.
fall is a crib.
Hell yeah.
So wait, y'all are fans of autumn.
I
know.
love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm about to
I do. I love autumn.
I'm not so much either, Jerome.
I love spring and autumn.
Okay, so autumn is one of your favorite seasons?
Yes, absolutely.
Holding you too?
I'm a fall baby, so yes.
Yes,
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
it
I'm a
makes
turkey
sense.
jerky.
It makes sense. It's Sagittarius, Libra. Okay. I'm a Pisces. I don't know if that has anything to do with the fact that I really love spring, but autumn is cool too, I guess.
I like summer.
What?
You like summer?
Yes.
What?
The only benefit is to soak up all that vitamin D.
Horn, I would have played it.
Soak up all the vitamin D in the summer. That's that.
Vitamin
But-
D.
No, yeah. I mean, I like swimming during the summer, but
Yeah, I
that's
like
about it.
swimming,
Other than that, it's pretty much spring for me. With the change in season, y'all already know, comes that special time of the year that we all refer to as cuffing season. Is anybody excited about cuffing season?
Not really.
No?
She
Is any-
married.
I'm cuffed. I'm cuffed already. Been cuffed.
So there's no
I'm in the season of getting everybody out the bed and out the
There's
way.
no excitement around cuffing season. Okay, am I the only person excited
Just
about
got a
cuffing?
cuff.
You got cuffed?
No, I just got a cuff.
I don't understand. Please explain.
I'm just saying cuff.
He just like
Oh,
saying
you just
it.
like
Just
saying
saying
cuff.
Yeah, he like saying it.
Got it. So is anybody participating in cuffing season?
Cuffing your jeans?
Cuffing you.
Please don't be out here cuffing your jeans.
What's up with you? How you feeling about it?
Please don't be
Links.
leaks.
Sneaky cuff links.
I'm so sorry to hear that, guys.
How do you feel about it?
Hella excited.
Right.
It's looking up for a bitch over here.
Where's the applause?
It's looking up for a bitch over here. Cuffing
I
season.
felt the ray of sunshine.
Cuffing season's looking wonderfully nourishing
Oh.
for me.
Yo.
For me, I'm sorry to hear, you know, that this is not looking like that for anybody else. Well, Deloria.
What?
I mean, it's looking like that for you, but the guys are talking about cufflinks
regular.
and cuffing jeans.
Cuff is just too legit to quit for me. Like, cuffing season is certainly the time in which a bitch can get pregnant. I'm just saying.
See, I feel like the proper cuffing season includes a lot of sex without pregnancy. That's just on my list.
I got cuffed and conceived.
You're married, then.
Both
Why?
of my
Why does
kids
that
during
confuse
cuffing
you?
season. I'm telling
Fucking
you, I know
without
it
getting
happened.
pregnant is the way to go when you single.
I need a mother cuffing break.
The cuffing break.
She's good at it.
Hey, yo, ain't she?
That was quick.
She's a comedian.
But wait, I feel like the perfect cuffing season comes with a lot of sex without pregnancy. Jerome, you gave me the side eye.
I didn't give you the side eye. I just
like, I'm
laughed
getting a
at
bitch
it.
pregnant.
No, you was like, the
season.
fuck?
No,
What does
it
that
wasn't.
mean?
It was just
It was a
like
face.
it was a face.
Yeah, you
but
saw
it was
it.
just like I didn't know that was just like a requirement of cuffing season.
It's not a requirement. I just said it's like the perfect. You know what I'm saying? I feel like when you are having sex and then you get pregnant, that changes the nature of cuffing season.
For sure.
That
What
changes the nature of
your life.
Don't it though? I misunderstood the assignment.
You kind of ringed. You didn't misunderstand.
I'm just kidding.
Why do y'all think this is the time of year for like relationships and like cuffing and canoodling and cuddling? I feel like
Well,
the weather,
Well, a couple things. Thanksgiving, Christmas,
Exactly.
the holidays.
the weather. It gets darker earlier, so it.
What do
lends-
Thanksgiving and Christmas got to do with it?
So family, home. You know what I mean? Just love and the idea of you're spending time with loved ones. It's not like a time. Oh, we're going to travel to the Bahamas. Like it's not that. It's
Exactly.
like
Got
you know
it.
what I mean. We're in the house.
It's not like
chilling,
hot girl
food.
summer vibes.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It's a chill. Like we in the house with it.
That's what I said.
I concur.
It's the perfect time for you to.
Into the mic, sis.
Oh yeah, you know.
Into the mic. Come on,
Get
Pat, this
back
way.
at it.
right
My
there, right
bad.
there.
Come on, cuffing
That's it. Come on, cuff. Explain
Didn't
how.
Wait, it's a
Didn't
show
mean
us
to
that.
mislead
We're
you
about to have
all
a Jill Scott moment.
into thinking I can't talk into the mic. But what I'm saying is, for me, I think like cuffing season is a time for people to link together, you know, and meet your family and all of that stuff. And if you act right during cuffing season, you might make it over to thought season.
Thought season.
Oh, my.
that
Wait,
seems to be working
oh, my.
backwards.
In the summer, then we
You
can,
will work your way
and then
toward thought season. I feel like you graduated from
Then we
thought
can-
season to cuffing season. Am I wrong?
You can be out there together with your
Oh.
significant
You
cuffer.
kinky.
She said entanglements. I got
Your significant
entanglements.
It's all gonna tie in together.
She said,
Significant
she said
cuffer.
you moved from cuffing season to threesome season.
I need another drink.
It only goes down from here.
No, I mean, I feel you on that, I suppose. Now, listen, if you could create like the perfect cuffing season like starter kit, what would go in your starter kit for cuffing season?
I don't.
I know.
Okay.
Okay,
share,
so
you share.
I have like a list.
Please.
Oh.
I'm so excited about cuffing season.
Oh.
First of all, we need our handcuffs.
Okay.
That
What's
escalated
happening right
This
now?
is-
way more quickly than I.
This is a
I
different
think I
cuffing
should take a
season. We
break.
talk about two different things.
I done took that
I'ma
tequila
sit back.
shot and now I'm sweating, but I know the air is on. I just want to draw attention to that. So the first thing I feel like, and listen, I really want y'all to weigh in. Like, tell me what y'all think. Is this something that needs to, go inside cuffing season or no? First thing for me, dinner dates.
Of course.
It starts off on the
Absolutely.
dinner date side of things.
Yeah.
Men,
I mean,
damn, if I had my
just missed
crickets button.
restaurant week. Restaurant week is happening.
I'm actually more of a fan of breakfast dates now.
What?
I love the idea of just like waking up and let's do breakfast together.
Yeah, I
bad.
still be asleep.
Oh.
You can bring me breakfast.
I mean, however you work it
breakfast
out. but
dates
you know what I mean?
involve
Yeah.
getting
Penny
dressed.
for your thoughts.
No.
Pajamas?
That can have in the house. Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, in the house.
Because you're already going to be cuffed up over the night. So
And
it's
see-
just why not just have a little joint in the morning?
Yeah, I guess mine's is like working progressively toward fucking. So it starts with.
I mean, well, look, let's
That's a
start with
part of
you need some
cuffing season.
energy.
We all
You
grown.
need
Don't
some
act like
energy
that.
first thing in
Yeah,
the
well,
morning.
shit.
You
it
need
starts
some-
with
yeah.
for me.
You know what I said?
It starts with the dinner dates, and I like flowers. That'll let you cuff me.
I'm a balloon person. I like
Really?
balloons. Yeah.
Oh, that's cute. I
Some
like
balloons
balloons
for
too.
no reason. Yes.
Oh,
Get
that's good to know. I'll bring you some balloons, comfy blankets.
Absolutely. I want one of those weighted Jones.
I got
have
one. Oh my God, I love my weighted blanket.
What?
I love my weighted blanket so much. At first, I was like, oh my God, it's so hard to move, but I had to get used to it. For women, for me, baby tees and boy shorts. Like, it's not giving full ass pajamas.
Full ass pajamas.
It's just giving like barely no clothes. Y'all not feeling me.
Back rubs, foot rubs.
Booty rubs, bitch.
Yeah, that's all of those.
All of the rubs.
The back rubs that lead to just the tip. Get the fuck move
Ain't no
back.
tips. Dude.
Move back,
She's
bro.
speaking from experience.
Just a tip. Let me tap it a little bit.
Your back, girl. What, you was about to say something, Jerome?
It just seems like the checklist is, leaning toward one way. I was thinking about like guys and what we care about.
Do share. Yeah, that's what you're here for.
That's what I asked.
We can't tell you what you want.
No,
for
no,
cuffing
and
season.
I'm thinking. I think cuffing season just leans more toward women anyway.
Oh, men like to be cuffed too. Cut it out.
Men do like to be cuffed. Cuffing season leans toward women.
Why? What do you mean?
It's just
It's
geared
beneficial
toward
for
women.
men,
It's just
too.
it's sure.
It's
I don't
beneficial
think
for people
so.
in
I think
general.
cuffing season in general, just like Valentine's Day, leans toward women. It's just like a marketing thing toward women. Women use it
So-
more often than men.
I don't know because I mean, frankly, I have a lot of friends who are in same-sex relationships, and none of them are women. And cuffing season is very much a big-ass thing.
I'm speaking
as
from
is
a
Valentine's Day.
heteronormative
There you go. Clarify. Okay.
perspective.
I'm
So,
not mad at that.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. Cuff me. Wine and weed are also on my list, and sex without pregnancy. That's my list.
Word.
So you don't tap into cuffing season because it's for girls.
No, I don't tap into cuffing season because I don't care about it. Like the thing, and not from like I don't care about it. It's cuffing season. I just don't feel like there's a particular season if you want to do something like that.
That's good.
I don't think it applies
Okay.
to
So you
a
can get
season.
cuffed in the summer.
You can get
Yeah.
cuffed in the summer.
Right.
Shit.
Right.
I've done. I've that's. I've
If I ain't
started a
cuffed
relationship at the
going
beginning
into
of
the
several
summer,
relationships beginning of the summer.
If I'm not cuffed going into the summer, it's gonna have to wait for.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. Like if I feel that, if I
That's
feel
what I
that,
was
then
saying. Like if you make it through cuffing season, what is the norm? What people consider cuffing season, then you would make it to the season in which I would be thotting. Is what I meant to say.
I
Okay,
got you, I
that
got
makes
you.
Not me, not me,
I
not
got
me.
you. You're just
Not
saying
you.
the time period.
yeah,
per
yeah,
se.
yeah.
Got you.
I'll fucking holler at Deloria. Okay, well,
Nah,
thank you guys.
I can't.
Oh yes.
I can't. For me, that feels like playing house. And for me,
Cuffing?
yeah, that feels like playing house. And for me,
I can
like
see that.
if we're not in a relationship or moving towards a relationship anyway, it's like I don't actively seek those things out because it's like I'm going to be cool with moving on, and you might get attached, and I'm not.
Say that shit.
People need to be clear from the
Yeah.
jump.
But I feel like
Whole
cuffing
nother
season is like
topic.
relationship prerequisite.
I think so too.
You know what I'm saying? You don't
it-
just cuff a motherfucker usually and then
I
be
think
like,
people.
"All
I
right."
think in this day and age, people
It's
look
March
for.
now.
I think people look for someone to cuff now because like so many things in life just cater to that around this time of year. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
So
good point.
you can Netflix and chill. You have the darker curtains to, you know what I'm saying, to keep it insulated and dark, and you know what I'm saying. So it's like a lot of
Getting
different things going on.
Niggas be cold and lonely. So
You know, and or needing a place to stay. Niggas need a place to stay
Needing a
sometimes.
place to
Yes.
stay was where it really happened. Wow.
you pay your
Be
heat bill.
careful, y'all. Be
Hey,
be the fuck careful out here. Okay.
If your heat bill paid, like
Yeah.
Hey,
that's my prerequisite.
You got heat. And nowhere to
Paying my
stay.
bills.
you got heat.
Cool.
Lord have mercy. Y'all are
Kind of
crazy.
ghetto black shit. You got heat.
You got heat.
One
Your
thing
heat-
I
your heat on?
definitely love during
Holy cracking the fuck
season.
up.
Right, that's it.
That's that ghetto black shit. I love it. It's like you got
You got
heat.
heat.
My nigga, I love,
You got heat.
I'm listening. Go
I
ahead.
don't want to share no more.
No, go ahead, bitch.
Go.
Reading, watching like old black movies,
Like Waiting to Exhale.
Oh yeah, right. Waiting to exhale. I never seen that.
I've been
Black
stalking
Card
Deloria
Revoked.
about watching Waiting to Exhale.
I never seen
told
that.
her that you had never seen it, and,
Yeah, I
and we
had.
watched it together.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Bitch, no, we're gonna
I'm
watch
next.
Waiting to Exhale."
She's
You're
like,
next. You
I'm
ever
not-
seen? Wait,
I'm not a big fan of that
Oh, you're not a
movie.
fan?
as
but
others.
you've seen it.
I've seen it.
That's fine. You don't gotta be a fan, but as long as you see, it's a women.
As long
that's
as
a-
your money
that's-
made it into the box office. Thank you very
They
much.
did. They got paid.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's
salute.
not like a movie I would expect like you to like. It's one of those like super. It's a cuffing season movie for sure.
Is it?
Sure. Well, maybe not. Yeah, no, it is. It is.
Yeah, because if
It's
you
not a
try it
chick
on the
flick.
other side of this, you know what's going to happen.
It's not a chick flick. Well,
It's not. Well,
I might be talking in
You
circles.
mean
it's not a chick
I
flick.
just be seeing clips.
Quote.
It's not a love story
Yeah, like
necessarily.
that chick flick.
It's
type
like
deal.
multiple breakups.
Harlem Nights.
Like-
Harlem Nights is definitely a cuffing season
That's
movie.
why I asked. Like, it's like 4
I
breakups.
think so, yeah.
Let's talk about cuffing season movies. Is Harlem Night?
I would say so, yeah. I love the part when Della Reese, when Red Fox be like, Della Reese be like, I went for a glass of orange juice and it's only a swallow.
Left in the
yeah.
container.
Red Fox was like, well, swallow it, shut the fuck up.
I don't know. I feel like cuffing season movies are like loving
I
basketball.
was about to say that. I love basketball.
You know, the best
Anything that
man.
makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Or just 20 minutes into it, you just know what's going to happen. So just
put anything on, frankly.
Yeah.
'Cause you're not going to
And
be paying
put it
attention.
in.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to be paying attention.
The Office.
The Office. Yep. There you go.
Episode.
Y'all know. Y'all better not. Y'all
Yep.
lying
That's
to
a
yourselves.
goddamn
Y'all say it.
Office.
The Office.
Lord
Y'all know
have
what.
mercy.
Y'all know what. That, boom, 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 boom,
Anyway.
boom, boom. Y'all know what's going down.
Well, shout out to everybody participating in cuffing season this year. And listen, speaking of cuffs, let's get into our first topic, okay?
Well, damn.
Which deals with
Oh,
one
damn.
gentleman whose cuffing season has a bit of a different meaning this year, as
Yikes.
his cuffs are probably a lot less comfy than the rest of ours. R. Kelly has been found guilty of sex trafficking and racketeering charges. Oh! Kelly faces up to 140 years in prison from the conviction. And there's just so much to unpack with this situation. So, let's talk about it. Holden, I want to start with you. How do you feel about the verdict in general? Just get us started. It be his exhales for me.
Because he meant that shit.
It's always like,
Justice moves slow, if not at all. And
good.
I don't want to vilify the man. He did what he did, and you got to pay the piper. That's just that for me. That's where it sits. I don't have a heaven or hell to put the man in. I don't agree or particularly like what he was doing, but I feel like justice has been served. Yeah. It's about time, especially since I remember as a youngin' seeing one of the sex tapes. Mm-hmm. So it's just like this has been something in a way we kind of grew up with this. We grew up with Aaliyah, rumors of him and Aaliyah, or not even rumors, but just we grew up with this thing.
Yeah.
Like what I'm saying. So that's why there's a level of comfort with this that many people do have.
That's crazy.
It is
to think about.
But it's been decades. It's been decades that
really
we've grown up with
has.
this, and it's like. Finally, justice has been served. It's not been like, oh, this is going on. It's a rumor. Is this? I seen this tape. Oh, you seen the tape? That joint was crazy. Da, 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 da. Now it's like, oh, no. This is wrong. So let's actually do something about it.
You make a good point.
Right. So for me, it's like justice is finally served. That for me, that's just where it rests.
Yeah.
I feel the same
Makes
way.
sense.
Like,
D-Wayne.
I said the same thing, that the verdict was just, but it was grossly overdue. 2002. I do remember that in high school watching that sex tape. Like, what am I watching as a young teenager? And then to over time, like this man was an abuser in 2002. And you talking about almost 20 years later. It was happening far before that.
Yep.
And
You saw
so-
that joint in 2002?
Yes, I did. I remember the
I didn't see it
exact
till I got
space
to
and
college.
place I was standing when
really?
someone showed
I was
me.
in high school.
I remember. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
That's interesting. Jerome, weigh in. How you feeling?
I mean, same. I mean, he deserves all that. Sucks.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
Nah, for me, I got to be honest. Like, of course, I am glad that he was found guilty. I really do hate that this happened. I think my energy rests more in the fact that this man was able to go on for so long with this sickness, and as a community of we played a role in this.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And these women, these girls, their lives are changed forever. Like I was watching when you got here, I was looking at the Ezreal Clary interview that she just did with Gail. And I've been following her actually on Instagram since, this whole surviving R. Kelly situation came to be. And a couple of the girls, and I just look, and in their eyes, I can just see, like, you are different for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
You are forever
does that.
changed.
It does
You know
that
what
to
I'm
you.
saying? And this is these young girls' lives. And with that, my spirit just really grieves. And R. Kelly, you know, as genius, a creator, as he, you know, is, and with all of the access to resources that he had, I just hate that he couldn't get, you know, people to not be a bunch of yes men around him and to challenge him and to connect him with the type of help that he needed to get over this. Everybody just kind of allowed this to be swept under the rug.
Yeah.
And so much damage has been done as a result of that. And so I'm very pleased with the verdict. It's been a long time coming, like Holden said, way, way, way too long. But I'm sad at the same time. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm
too
very, very heavy.
Actively I actively wrestle with trying to separate the two. The same with Bill Cosby and Michael Jackson and enough other names. You know what I mean?
All right, watch yourself. You're not.
I'm just saying. I ain't about to do no rundown or nothing like that. But it's just eerily, it's just like uncomfortable to go through any memories that you created from these particular artists.
Yeah, no, true.
And with that, it's like you have to erase. If you erase the person, you erase something significant in your own memories.
That's very true.
You know what I mean?
That's very true.
I can't tell you how many times you put on one of those songs and it just is what it is.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate to have to kind of choose between keeping your own memories or being morally in alignment with what's right.
That's very true. That's a good point that you bring up. Did everybody here, and feel free to, you know, pass on answering this if you don't feel like being this transparent, but did everybody participate in like the mute R. Kelly kind of like moment? Like, have you stopped listening to his music? Have you subscribed to that?
No. And
you be bumping R. Kelly like driving down the
But here's
street.
the thing. I never bumped R. Kelly.
Right.
I never bumped R. Kelly. No, R. Kelly was
did.
never my like twist to go to. But if his song came on and I liked it, I kept it on. I'm a flirt is my joint.
And
so
you still do.
the thing is, here's the thing. At the end of the day,
This is a safe space. Believe me, I'm not.
no, I know. At the end of the day, for me, and I'm not saying this for anybody else, but for me, I can separate. Like, I can look at it and be like, I like that song, and then still be like, yo, he's a shitty human being. I mean, there are plenty of artists that we can look at and hear and listen and know that they've done some horrible things, and we still listen to them. So I think a lot of times, I think with R. Kelly specifically, because of the enabling by a community for so long, I think he's the target of the outrage of the year. If that makes any sense. It's due. It's just in what he's receiving. But the weight of what he's receiving is like, well, we should be mad about something. And it's like, yeah, you should have been mad about this
a long time ago.
But you continued to listen to him, and you continued to go through all this stuff, and you knew what was going on. It was jokes about this 20 years ago. There were jokes about R. Kelly with little girls and peeing and all that other stuff years ago. And muting R. Kelly is more of a recent thing. So how is it now?
It came
like,
about
I can't listen
after
to
the
him.
documentary
And
kind of opened people's eyes a little bit more
The reason,
to what was going on the various levels.
Yeah. And the reason why that's tough for me, I read an article years before that came out. It was by very smart brothers. They were like a blog site at that particular time. And they put out a article. It took me 2 days to read. A very long article outlining what R. Kelly was doing in Chicago before the first album came out. And he was known for going to that McDonald's, taking girls to that McDonald's, hanging around in the parking lot of the high school. They knew him as Rob doing that. So for me, it was like, okay, so this was known in the community. They knew, hey, yo, don't go around him. Adults in that community would be like, not him. Not him. Go home. Don't hang around him. So they knew that, and they were talking to people within Chicago that knew who R. Kelly was, who knew just as Robert or Rob at that time, and they were steering their children away from that. And for me, it was like, since this was known, y'all kind of protected him. So now you can't just because you protected him. And then once it gets out, now it's like, well, he should go to prison. And it's like, well, yeah, he should, but you also play a part in that, in enabling him for those that were around him, his team, those people that would. I mean, he got on a racketeering charge.
Yeah, but not
That's
everybody
an organized
is,
crime charge.
So not everybody is in support of him going to jail. Like, you know what I'm saying?
But I think I like yes and, right? I've said this before in previous podcasts. I like yes and. To that point, it's hard to. I'm not trying to take this hat off because I'm a brainy person first. Brainy. So it's hard to judge something in real time, right? So like most sociologists can judge something as it happened, you know what I mean, or whatever like that in history. But we're coming out of a time period where that was very common in a lot of our households, where it was very well known that uncle, daddy,
such and such.
grandfather, was doing X, Y, and Z. But he was still showing up to the barbecues, to the Thanksgiving dinners, And it's like we know it. Auntie knows it. Grandma knows it. Mommy knows it. All these people know it. Cousin knows it. But he's still coming to eat with us. We're still going to joke with him. We're going to share a 40 with him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like for decades until you get older, and it's just like, no, this is a problem because now another one got touched. Yeah. Or whatever. Another
Don't
one
hang
came
around
forward.
Uncle Peaches.
Like, you know what I mean?
Uncle Peaches,
but he can still come out.
Generally.
But
we know about that uncle.
But he can still come out. And it's like, I feel like we're coming out of those generations where that was okay for you to be invited to the cookout, so to speak. Right?
Yeah.
And we're in a season now where our generation and the generations after is like, well, fuck that. Yeah. Nah, we putting an end to this. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Kind of piggyback off of what you're saying, Holden. This is probably going to be an unpopular opinion, but I do think that some of the burden of this heavily is weighted on the shoulders of the victim, and sometimes a little bit hard for me, especially this is going to be my first time speaking about this in a public setting.
Same.
No, I'm speaking as a victim. I'm speaking as a victim, right? It is heavily weighted on the shoulders of the victim because, yes, as a victim, you never openly exposed. Some victims never openly expose their abuser. These people are allowed to hang around, like you said, with the same behavior, and it never ceases because the victim doesn't come forward. People that have never had that experience don't really understand, and so while you can advocate for victims to come forward, if you're not a victim, you don't understand the weight that it takes or the amount of courage that it takes to say, hey, this happened to me and something needs to be done about it.
Yeah, it's levels.
When I was 8 years old, Lord, I'm about to bare my soul, but I'm hoping I'm helping somebody.
It's all right.
And we got
we
you.
are right with you.
When I was 8 years old, I was abused by a family member, my father's brother. I don't give a fuck no more. I'm telling it, and it is what it is. Yeah. But my family knew. I think my family knew, or some people knew what was going on because it didn't just happen to me. I'm not here to tell nobody else's story. I can only share my own. But I do know that I'm not the only one. And so in this particular case with Mr. Robert Kelly, clearly the 1, 2, 3 young ladies that came forward, or however many ladies came forward, they weren't the only ones. And so the weight is bared mostly on the victim to say, hey, because sexual abuse happens every single solitary day. There's not a day that goes by that nowhere in the world no sexual violence. It happens every single day. Right. But it's unfortunate that the victim is the one that has to say, hey, this happened to me. What is everyone else going to do to band around me and do about this? And so I think, like I said, it was grossly overdue for people in general to come out and say what it is and call a spade a spade.
Yes. Thank you for sharing, first of all.
Thank you.
But
Thank you,
also, to take that a point further, yes, and in this country, in the legal system, a lot of times courts, judges, lawyers, whatever, can take up a cause whether a plaintiff or whether someone who's a victim wants to do something or not. R. Kelly had the hubris to record a lot of his misdeeds. Yep. And the fact that a lot of these tapes were matriculating around the internet, in its earlier days, in our households or whatever, like to your point, And no one ever said, you know what, let's make a case out of this to take it to trial or do anything else like that.
Yeah.
So where it doesn't have to be where you have to come forward as a victim, because a lot gets placed on the victim of, did it happen within the last 24 hours? Do you have any evidence that this happened? You know what I mean? Any seminal evidence or body fluids or whatever. A lot of that lays on the victim.
It's
and
so
there's a lot of
unfortunate,
levels
too.
to that.
It's
You know what I mean? There's a
insane.
lot of levels to that.
I didn't say anything about what happened to me until I was 17 years old. It happened from the time that when I was 8 years old, I was penetrated by an adult grown man.
My God.
And from the time I was 8 from 8 to 12, I was molested during that time. And I never said nothing to nobody. I've always been the same person that I am now. But I know that it affects the way that I operate as an adult.
Absolutely.
I'm
How
sure
can
it
it
has
not?
a part of the reason. And I mean, I'm probably reaching, but why I wouldn't identify myself as sexually fluid, but I understand sexually fluid people.
Yeah.
Right? I'm married and all those good things, but because of my experience in my past, my way of thinking now as an adult and being exposed to certain things and coming to know that I'm not the only one, I think that it's weird. It's like 6 in one hand and half a dozen in the other. Like, this bad thing happened to me, but I'm able to make something else out of it where I don't victimize myself for being a victim. I still move freely and how I am and who I am, but I also think that with that has something to do with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
I want to thank you again for having the bravery to share with us your personal story, sis. You know I love you and got you always and whatever you need. Quick question. When you see and hear people standing in support of R. Kelly and advocating for him to be believed over the survivors, as a survivor, which is the language I'm going to use as opposed to victim, as a survivor, is that in any way triggering, or what do you have to say, if anything, to people who would publicly advocate for a person who you personally believe is an abuser?
So when I was in my early 20s, I used to have very ill and nasty feelings toward my uncle, right? And I used to have bad thoughts. I used to have bad thoughts of what I would do to that man. But now, as I grow to understand mental health, I do understand that it is an illness. It's a wacky kind of illness that you wish that people wouldn't have.
Right.
But because I understand that mental health is a thing, the people that are advocating for this man, they probably sick too. I'm just saying. I'm not accusing anybody of anything whatsoever.
I feel that.
But you're only going to,
in some kind of way,
stand in defense of the person that you think is right, and that's because you have some kind of maybe connection to that, or you can relate to that. Like, what about these people that believe him? What about them makes them relate to him, right? Are you guys sick too?
Right.
Why do you think that way?
So
why
it doesn't anger you. You're at a different and more evolved place on your journey.
Absolutely. I don't got time to be carrying that bullshit with me.
Yeah.
I had too much going on in the fucking present day.
Facts.
I want to.
I mean, I do think about it every single solitary day, but yeah.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Again, thank you. And
We love you, Deloria.
I know. I don't listen.
I want to tap on something that you said as far as like insulating and protecting that abuser, and I think on a larger scale we've seen that we've seen it on the small scale in families, in small groups. We've seen where we know who that is, we know what they do, but they can come around as long as they don't disrupt what we have going on as a
on the
whole.
surface.
Right.
So from I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think with R. Kelly, I think a lot of that was, well, it ain't my daughter. I don't personally
Is it not?
know. No, I'm telling you how it's being compartmentalized. Like, it ain't my daughter. I don't personally know these girls. Like, I don't know
that's
who
unfortunate.
that girl is.
That's
that
very
girl,
unfortunate.
and I think in a lot of these cases, he was not only protected by just the community as a whole, black folk, as a whole can say don't touch
Absolutely.
ours. But I also think, there's a lot of culpability with his personal team, his management team.
Absolutely.
For sure. Without a
Personal,
doubt.
100%.
there's a lot of ownership
Anybody
that
that
needs
knew.
to go
Anybody that knew.
toward
Then if you don't say
families.
nothing, then you complicit.
The families, there are
I agree with
families
that.
of some of these girls that knew.
Yeah, very clearly.
And knew what they were sending their child off into.
Yeah.
So for me, and because they were getting paid.
Yeah. It's
So my
That
thing is
speaks
like,
to illness to me as
yeah,
well.
Absolutely.
So for me, it's like,
What?
yeah, you got him, but I need you to get all them other niggas
Period.
because all them other. I don't care if they testified against to clear it up to get it off him. Like I said, it's a racketeering charge also in
Yeah.
there. That racketeering charge
Ooh.
goes right to organized crime. I'm telling
It's
you,
a
this was
RICO.
this
Get everybody.
exactly.
You trafficking.
This was an
Yeah.
organization.
Yeah.
He's not the only person in the organization.
Absolutely.
They never run by themselves.
Absolutely
So
not.
clearly there were people getting these girls,
Feeding
there were
them
people
in.
recruiting these girls, there were
Exactly.
people handling these
and
girls,
keeping the silence.
and keeping the silence.
But
And
but those people
there's
that
something should be
were-
done.
Allegedly, he's getting ready to start speaking about.
Well, go
other
ahead.
people in
Speak
the
on up.
industry that were
Speak on
involved.
up.
That's alleged.
Speak on up.
So if I'm going down, taking everybody
but
with
here's
me.
Nothing wrong with that.
two things.
Okay.
Not in that
But
regard.
two things with that part. We're also coming out of a generation that we are stopping the. We're not blaming victims. Previous generations would blame victims. We would call girls fast, right?
Yeah,
we'll call a
yeah.
16-year-old girl fast
Absolutely.
if she was provocative or she did anything. Or
That's true.
if a
'Cause that
man,
hasn't even come up here.
But if a man is attracted to a 15-year-old girl or an 11-year-old girl, and the girl actually does consummate a sexual act with him, she's looked at as fast,
Yeah.
right, and not as a hormonal teenager who, by the law, cannot consent to any sex act, which is why a lot of 11-year-olds cannot marry, or 12-year-olds cannot marry in a lot of states in the United States. Some states
Yeah.
vary 16, 14, blah, 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 whatever. But you know what I mean? They can't consent because they're just not developmentally at the place where they can do that. So, but we're coming out of that generation that blamed victims for a lot of things. Also, I just, if it, that doesn't, well, I want him to say what he needs to say. I think that is still also two things can be true at the same time. I want him to say anybody else who's doing this type of dumb shit.
Yeah.
But I hate that you haven't shown any type of repentance up until this point. You haven't shown any
remorse.
type of
No,
goodwill
at all.
or anything.
'Cause he's
But
still in denial.
but the fact
he's
that you
also
got caught and convicted, now you want to expose others. For me, that's not a good showing. You know what I'm saying? That for me, that doesn't show any sort of
Now
penitence.
that's an
Like, you know what
admission
I mean?
of guilt
Exactly.
at that point.
That's
Yeah.
because if I'm going down, so for me, you don't get any points for that. Like, bro, if you at this point was like, you know what, I fucked up. It's hard for me to talk about this, but here we go. Here, I'm gonna share my ledgers with one or two or three or whatever. If you show some kind of penitence with this thing, that'd be different. But up until this point, it's been closed mouth. Up until this point, and now that you're convicted, you have a conviction.
Yeah.
Now you want to talk, and it's just like,
Yeah,
What is that for?
I guess for me, I don't personally give a fuck. Like, tell us, run tape. I would drop all the
I'm
names.
kind of with it. I'm kind of with
Drop
that.
all
Like
the
I hear
names. I
what
don't
you're
even give
saying.
a
No,
shit
it doesn't
why.
make him repent. Like it doesn't bring any closure or any. It doesn't make you feel better.
You guilty, but he been
But-
guilty. We already knew that shit.
We know you. Yeah, exactly. That's my thing. We know you was guilty. Well, who else? You
Yeah, tell on everybody.
Tell 'em.
Like, for real, because this is a huge ass problem. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's hard to use the language. I'm glad to see things panning out the way they are in terms of the verdict. I am glad that the man was found guilty. But my energy, my heart just rests in so much of the bigger picture.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? There was just so much damage that was done. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow, live on WURD, Deloria and I are going to sit down with sexual violence awareness advocate Lakeisha Anthony, CEO and founder of the Voice organization. We're going to be unpacking this on a deeper level, and I really, really, really would love if y'all tuned in and joined us. Are there any final thoughts on this before we move on from it? There's a lot, you know what I'm saying, to kind of like get touched to, and I don't want to skate past it too fast.
No, I know one of the things that we talked about or wanted to visit. One of the things
I'm gonna adjust your mic, sis, because
You need to be heard.
I might have prayed.
Yeah, you need to be
trying
heard.
to lean toward it. I don't know how to do
I might
it.
have
I lied.
lean into that. I might
Lean into that
lean
mic.
into
Cuspid.
Hey, yo,
season.
what the fuck is wrong with you?
No, one of the things that I know we were talking about visiting was if there was too much publication about R. Kelly himself and folks searching for
as
that
opposed
versus
to-
the victims and those things. And I thought to myself just that there's way too much publication about the problem and not the solution.
Yeah.
I did a very simple, and that could preach. I did a very simple. I did a
I'm sorry.
I did a very
There is an organ in here.
simple
You know what I
Google
mean?
search.
Don't get your own started.
You know what I mean?
Talk about your Google search, sis.
I did a very simple Google search, right? And it comes up whenever you search for anything. It tells you exactly how many results. Well, not exactly how many, but around about how many results come up for any particular thing. I searched R. Kelly. 989 million results came up in 1 second.
Damn.
I searched sexual violence. 490 million results. How? How did more than half come up about R. Kelly's ass? Nobody is talking about sexual violence. Not nobody, but only half the folks is talking about sexual violence.
The idea of sexual violence, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not speaking from a statistical standpoint, but just from what I know, right? My paradigm has been more so taboo when it comes to conversation.
Clearly.
For many more years than, like R. Kelly has been a public figure and almost an icon status, you might as well say, for a long time, a long part of his career.
So, and before
and there's more things that you can Google R. Kelly about other than
I'm aware.
sexual violence. So
I'm
that's
just saying.
But no, I get your
sexual
point.
violence in general is talked about less than this one man.
Absolutely.
That yes.
I agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And sexual
problematic.
violence was happening long before anybody knew that name.
Yep. And
Nobody
there are
talks
plenty of
about
other
it.
cases. Yeah,
Yeah.
plenty of other cases where that was a thing. Michael Jackson, for
Unfortunate,
example.
man. It's
I mean,
unfortunate.
frankly, I didn't necessarily want to talk about R. Kelly on this show for a long time. This thing has
Yeah.
been going on for a while, and I've avoided, creating space on my platform for it because it is I like the word wacky that you use. It's just very much all over the place. You don't always know how to steer the conversation other than saying, I'm glad he's guilty. But again, especially for me, empathically, it's levels to
It's
this
layered.
shit.
It's layered. I was about to say you're absolutely
It's
right.
so much.
Even because you're speaking from an empathic person, you will have there is a part of you that says, well, what happened to him? Mm-hmm.
A large part of
you
me.
know what I'm saying? So,
A large part of me says that.
It says for him from age 8
I'm
to
sad.
14, he was sexually abused by an older female member's family member, explaining why he never told anyone. He wrote in 2012 autobiography that he was too afraid and too ashamed.
Yeah.
And this is
That's
the
what I
work
saw.
that our generation does. We get a lot of flack, but our generation has done a lot of work to just unpack and undo.
I agree.
Some of the stuff
I
that
agree.
people just
Just
throw
sweep
under the rug or
rug.
just
Absolutely.
go forward. Like we're
It
gonna
need to
press
get
on
talked
in life
about. It
about.
need to get talked
But
about.
our generation is the one we have done a lot of emotional hard work that the generation before us have been like, it's not worth it to
Yep.
talk about your feelings, to
Yep.
talk about your experiences.
Yep.
It happened, move on, make
Very
somebody
good.
yourself. And it's like, no, you got to do more than that because you repeat sometimes what you experience.
That's true.
Like, you know what I mean? You repeat what you experience sometimes. Sometimes. Not
true.
all the time, but sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for sharing, your takes and your opinions on that. Again, guys, please pull up October 4th, Monday, just in case you're not listening to this on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean.
Monday, October 4th, we will be live, WURD 96.1, as
Tap
well
in.
as on their WURD Facebook Live page. I'm super excited for that opportunity. And because we will have Keisha there, we're going to go more into the realm of resources, put a little bit more focus on what it means to be a survivor of this kind of thing, and do a little bit of a deeper dive. So, yeah, shout out to you guys for sharing.
And can we
space.
shout you out for a minute because
Yes.
this is, first of all, this is a monumental moment that you are breaking into
killing it
syndicated
right
radio
now.
I'm
and
so proud.
just having a moment like
That's the thing.
Thanks, guys. I'm really excited. I was gonna shout myself out again at the end
no,
of the
you
show.
ain't got
but-
to. We got you.
I understood the
appreciate it.
assignment.
Where you get that from? Because that's like your
TikTok.
seventh time
I
saying it.
love it.
It's a TikTok. You should know.
Got it. Well, in the instance of R. Kelly, I'm sure there are many people who are grateful that his private affairs and relationship happenings have been made public, due, of course, to the nature of the situation. And while he still maintains that what many of us have always believed is untrue, there are some celebrities who do go public, okay, to confirm that our speculations about their private affairs are, in fact, what we thought. Recently, Will Smith sat down with GQ magazine for a feature interview. And the main portion of the interview was Smith declaring that he and wife Jada Pinkett Smith were, in fact, in an open marriage. Okay, now this open declaration was news to some. I'm not really sure how, but it was news to some and somewhat of a relief to hear from others. Okay, we all know last year Jada was involved in the well-documented entanglement with singer August Alsina, and she even sat down at her red table talk with Will to discuss the issue. Now, with Will being a Philly native and with this GQ spread being a pretty sensational read, I do want us to delve into as much of the article as time will allow. But let's start here, and I want to start with you, D. What do we think of the details that Will shared about his marriage in particular? Is there anything to be learned from the choices he and Jada have made and, just like their overall outlook on relationships? What are some takeaways? Get us started.
Can I just first give a shout out to GQ magazine for dropping a motherfucking bag on this?
They dropped it.
I love it.
I made my son count all the prices of the outfits underneath all these pictures. I said, God damn, it ended up coming to like 500 grand.
It's GQ.
When I say
It's GQ.
got a little bit of Tom Ford in there, you know what I'm
I love
saying?
it.
Yeah.
Some Ralph Lauren, little Rolex
I love
on
it.
it.
I love the
Even
spread.
I was not mad
Just
at
what
it.
he's yeah.
The goatee is cool. I need him to bring the
You
mustache
want that?
back.
I actually like it. Like,
It
it was
gives Herbert the
interesting.
pervert a little bit to me.
Wow.
Not
Yeah, it does. Wow.
Too soon.
We ain't even get 5 minutes away from it.
Herb the perv.
My bad. No, I just want him to bring the mustache back. But anyway.
Yeah, definitely do that. I thought that Will was very conscious about not sharing any of his alternative relationships.
Okay.
August was probably it isn't probably one of the only men. He wasn't the only man that
This ain't a bad snack.
Jada was with, right? But that's the cat that got out the bag, and I think that that's probably what he was more mad at. I respect Will for saying that. You don't get all of me, right? That's in my Jerome voice. You don't get
Is this Jerome or Terrence
all
Howard? I don't know.
of me.
Jerome does a Terrence Howard, but we're not going to get into this.
But yeah, I thought that he answered in a very gracious way. I think that he protected himself. I think that he practed his wife. Hats off to that king for the way he responded.
I was going to say, I mean,
I'm not
I feel
mad
like,
at it.
I feel like this was the most, well, not the most, because I feel like Will is always relatively transparent to a degree, but I mean, their transparency is pretty
It's
calculated.
polished.
Yeah.
It's polished as fuck.
And I've personally always admired them.
I
Both.
need to learn Koof.
I've admired them together. I've admired them separately.
I had no polish.
I feel like
He said, I'm Matt Black.
I feel like yes, you do. You don't give yourself enough credit, child. If you know, you
Yes,
know.
because I
You know what I
can't
mean?
get a
You know
little
what I mean?
bit.
That's
You
it.
got a
Period.
lot of
Period.
motherfucking coof
Period.
in these
Period.
streets.
All right, copy that.
All right. She's like, shut the fuck up. No, but I've always admired the both of them. I feel like their relationship has always represented freedom to me. You know what I'm saying? Just self-awareness. Pretty much like minding our own business.
Just them as people, because how they let their kids operate.
Exactly.
I love it.
How they've reared their kids to operate.
Yeah.
Love,
Absolutely.
fun, just being on their own path. So I respect the interview. I respect the fact that he cleared the air a little bit and just let it be known. All right.
Hello, Tess.
We do what we want.
Right.
And
Fuck you talking about?
that's what it's giving.
like, no.
Jerome, what about you? Weigh in.
It'd be the last.
It's his laugh and his. I'm picking up on all the nuances.
My side.
And then Jerome says, "Here's the thing.
Right.
Usually, all right, I'm picking up.
Let's go, GQ. What's
Okay,
up?
so
What you got going on?
So here's the thing.
I told you. There you go.
And credits.
Love Will.
Love Will. You know, Will is a
man.
great individual from what I've seen. And, you know, Jada, I guess they have a wonderful marriage. At what point do we not give a fuck? I think it has to get to a point. Like, I don't care, Will. Like, I don't care. And I don't know how many people actually cared about that nugget.
I think plenty of people cared.
No.
About their open relationship?
You just said.
He didn't spend a lot of time in the article.
He
about
didn't.
it.
And I think it was, he could have breezed over it and we would have been fine. That's what I'm talking about. Like, okay. Like, we brought it back. We were kind of over it.
He
like,
was asked.
He was asked. And even to the ask, I would have stayed off it. As
the interviewer.
Let's move past it. If it's being rumored that it's already actually not being rumored, if it's known that this is a known, we saw the red table talk with him and Jada was skirting around it.
Yeah,
and
but
he
on
was
the
like,
red
say
table
what it
talk,
is.
he was damn near in tears.
He act like he ain't
So
have
listen,
no alternative.
In the article, he said that he was exhausted. He said he was
about to ask
exhausted.
that.
Yes,
He
in the
said-
article, but what I'm saying
I'm
is,
motherfucking tired.
as a journalist, if you see that red table talk and you hear, you know, the blogs and the media going off about this Jada and August Alsina situation, and you have the opportunity to sit across from Will Smith, you ain't gonna ask?
Exactly.
Let's dig into that red table
Yes.
talk.
Let's be real. You
can
gonna
we
ask
dig
about that shit?
Can we dig into the red table talk?
Dig,
I'm
bro.
All right, so
interested
I was
in it.
watching. We from Philly,
Dig.
right? And we know how like a Philly nigga just be looking like.
Yes.
What? Okay. All right. So when she said, "Okay, this is," because you know it was an entanglement. Everybody ignored what Will said afterward. He said, "No, say what it is."
Well, what was
Well,
it?
it's an entanglement, and she was like, "No."
He was trying to get her to put language around.
Don't. That's a cop out. Entanglement is a cop out. You say what that was.
He
it was a
wanted her to say
relationship.
it was a relationship.
So if we know what it was, he knew what it was.
But she never put that language around it.
She
in the
never
interview.
did, and I think
And that's
a
not
lot
for
of
nobody
this.
to determine but her in August.
But her
I'm sorry. I'm just saying.
I mean, and Will.
and
but go
Will. I mean,
Will matters.
you and your boyfriend, your husband has a
should know.
right to say what you and your boyfriend have. I'm sorry.
I guess
Especially
she's
if
not
that's
supposed
the
to have her
understanding.
boyfriend.
If
Now,
we
if
got an understanding,
If y'all on doing an interview about the shit,
Entanglement.
if I got an open relationship
All right, go ahead.
and my wife is running around talking about, I don't know what I got with this nigga. What are you talking about?
Black husbands matter.
What are you saying? You got a boyfriend. Tell him. Damn.
it's a YouTube episode. I'm just going to remind everybody.
No, but I'm just saying. I think a lot of this was to clean up and to protect. And this is what I will respect. A lot of that was to protect Jada.
You think so?
I think so. I think it was to protect Jada.
Yes.
If you say this,
I feel like if it was to protect her, it was a little late because
It
they already
was.
done dragged
It
her.
was.
For lags.
But I feel like he
men and women dragged
But
her.
he addressed that though.
And
He
not even
said
the
that-
same audience reads GQ.
But he
Let's just be
addressed that. He
honest.
said that once something to the article, he addressed that. He says once something gets released to the public, he said it's impenetrable. So the perception that
Yes.
that the public gets, there's no way to. It's impossible
You're
to
running out through my
change the
quotes,
public.
Holden.
So they just. I'm sorry.
don't go. Keep going. No,
Yeah,
I
'cause
got more.
There'll be a couple times Holden speaking and he'll say a word and he'll keep talking and I'll just get stuck on the word like, wait, what the fuck was that? Okay. You said something about
Impenetrable, which is a word that's a direct quote that he
Yeah,
used in
it
the GQ article.
Got it.
Keep going.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Does that have to do with penetration?
Words with
Yes, it actually does. Impenetrable means
I
the
knew it.
ability not to penetrate.
Told you.
Yes.
I ain't crazy. English is my favorite language.
Do you know any other?
I know penetrate. I know penetrate when I hear it.
English is my favorite favorite
cusping
language.
season.
Penetration.
Anyway,
Penetrate.
I feel like
Cusping with the lips.
I don't 100% agree with the fact that once something is in the public, it's hard to change people's minds because the whole point of the red table talk was the intention, at least what I was under the impression, was to bring clarity to what was really happening.
That made it
But the
worse.
thing happened worse. The thing happened
made it-
first. We found out first.
Exactly, and that's why they did the red table. That's what I'm saying.
And it ain't clear shit up.
It didn't. I feel like it made it worse. It definitely didn't.
It made it worse.
I feel like it was supposed to. That's why I personally pulled up. I know I wasn't by myself. Like, I pulled up to the interview like, all right, let me see what the fuck they talking about. Like, what was going on? Let me get the tea.
Way.
And basically, I walked away from that joint scratching my head. Like,
So
what you say, Jerome?
I pulled up the laugh.
hey yo,
I was cracking the fuck up. Like, God damn, these niggas crazy.
So for Will to now address it in the GQ magazine, first of all, I love it. You know what I'm saying? Of course. How can you not do an interview and not speak on it? But to say that it was in protection of her, it confuses me because, you know, niggas not even.
yeah, but okay. So he did say that how he speaks, which is indicative of how he is. He did say that even with his book that he's coming out with, he does
I'm
do
so
things
excited
to
about.
exactly. He does do things to protect because it's important.
Yeah.
When we do tell a story, it's not just our narrative that we're sharing. We're also
Yeah.
sharing the experience of someone else as well. So I think that he is not just his wife, but August as well. And whoever August may be, if August is involved with somebody, like, you know what I'm saying? So it protects the dignity of everybody involved. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's not just that. So he has to tell his perspective.
I get it, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I get that. But also, like with Jerome, because for me, I never watched the Red Table Talk. For me, certain things are just not interesting. But some things are not. Some things are not
cringy.
tabloid. Some things are not entertainment to me. Some things are not interesting to me.
Yeah, good,
So for me, I don't look at them as entertainment. I don't look at them as things that are my business.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So for that, I just leave them to people can watch it if they want. But for me, that's a very, very personal thing that I don't look at as entertainment, and I'm not interested in watching that because my interest in you does not exist there. My interest in you exists in your art and the other things you do, not in that. Your relationship is yours to curate and own, and that's your business, but I'm not really interested in the details of it. And if something comes out, like even with like back in the day when we were kids with Michael Jackson, I remember seeing tabloids from when we did a supermarket, I'd be in the line. I would see, Wacko Jacko, or Chrissy Alley when she was gaining weight and losing weight and doing all these different things. I just was not interested in that because I'm like, that's not my business.
That's
I don't
so
care.
fucked up in retrospect.
I don't
ain't it?
care. That's not my business. That's a
peace,
very
Michael
personal
Jackson.
thing that's between that person and whatever that situation is. And it's not for me to look and gawk at and laugh and, oh, did you see? Like, that feels like gossip. It feels like gossip. And for me, that's not interesting. So I never watched the Red Table Talk. So even that part of the article in the GQ thing, I'm just kind
super
of like,
interesting to me.
I was like, and that's fine. It's no judgment on anyone who does find it interesting. For me, that's my personal
like,
ethos.
what?
Yeah, I mean, that's my personal. I'm just like,
And then what he say?
That's why I said, like, I don't know if it was our bit. Like, if you going to tell me, I'm a laugh.
You pulled up to laugh, so don't act
I
like
did. If you going to say it, hey, I'm going to laugh at it. But ultimately, I do feel like we actually could have done without the cleanup
do
on the
without
Red
it.
Table Talk. We could have done.
I agree.
We could have done without him mentioning anything in GQ. We could have just kept it going because, I mean, honestly, it's out. Okay, so we know y'all got something else going on. It's 2021. There are plenty of lifestyles that are going on, and people are sustaining those lifestyles and succeeding and thriving in those lifestyles. Go
No,
do
I agree
you,
with that.
bruh.
I agree with that because while I am, the first in line a lot of times to pull up whenever a new hot take on something drops, I do like it. I more appreciate the Beyonce style of dealing with tabloids. When Solange went the fuck off on Jay-Z in the elevator, you have yet to hear Beyonce say, so what had happened was.
Right.
Beyonce didn't react in the elevator.
You have yet.
Beyonce was on the side.
Beyonce
like-
say nothing. Mum's
She
the
put it in
word.
her music.
She was like,
Mum's the
Coachella.
word. Yep. Mum's
Right.
the word.
She put it in her music.
That's what y'all get.
Come to the show, buy a ticket.
Right.
Buy a
It's not,
ticket. I
it's
got this
not even-
lemonade tour.
Okay. Album.
What she saying?
She don't even be like, you don't. I prefer that.
She said I gave a nigga an album.
If I have a
Lemonade was
choice-
an album for that.
So, like, what you're saying, I agree with. Like, if I have a choice, I do prefer that. Now, when they start dropping stories, I'm on it.
Yeah,
I want to know what's being said. I want to know how it's being said. I want to look at you in your face while you're saying it. I want to see what you're feeling. All of the things because I subscribe to like popular culture in that way.
Can I just take 2 seconds real quick?
Yeah.
Wesley Lowry is the writer of this article. If you guys didn't read it, and GQ magazine, that article was really, really nice. He did a really good job piecing it together.
Ow,
Yeah.
shout
Yeah.
out.
Overall,
It was a good article.
to the article
I loved
itself, Great article.
I want to get into the article, but before we do, I want to pause and get you guys' takes. I want to revisit this idea of open relationships because Will and Jada at this point are now publicly in an open relationship. And so what are we thinking of this? Like, have our sentiments toward open relationships changed since the last time we talked about it?
What I said the last time?
You didn't. You skirted around that thing. You
skirted.
danced like Gregory Hines.
Thank you, Jerome.
Now I have an opinion.
Tap that show ass off.
That's how we do it.
Savion Glover out this
Gregory
motherfucker.
motherfucking Hines.
Come on.
You start us the fuck off.
So, after reading the article,
She said upon further review.
Right, okay. All right, GQ got her to change her tune a little bit. Right.
I don't think open relationships are a bad idea. I think that all parties need to be head and heart strong. I think that both of those things have to be fairly even in terms of strength. Right? Your head can't be stronger than your heart, and your heart can't be stronger than that head.
Well, what are we talking about? What are we talking about?
Right, you gotta weigh like
Strong
risk.
head.
You gotta risk. You gotta weigh risk versus reward. Y'all are so irking.
The sex dream.
It be me though, right?
I'm hot. Y'all not hot.
I just feel like this, right? And I'm done. The only
Don't take your time. Don't skirt the fuck out of
Slow
here.
up that thing.
Go ahead.
Take your time.
I'm getting what I came for.
We all listen, bitch.
Cuffed and out.
You was the first one who put the polygamy on the runner first. So we want to hear from you.
Whoa.
No, that's what happened. We want to hear from our
No, but seriously,
sis.
I think that if that's something that if you do decide to do, you have to weigh your risk versus your reward, right? Make sure that everyone understands where home is. A lot of things factor into it.
Yeah.
If two and more partners have a clear understanding of the boundaries, I think that it is possible.
Yeah.
He did say, however, he would not advise. So there's
Is
that.
it something you would subscribe to or could subscribe to?
If the opportunity presented itself, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that I could have fun within the confines of a monogamous relationship. I cannot commit myself to more than one person. Like the whole commitment aspect to multiple people romantically. Because, my friendships alone, you know what I'm saying? I invest a lot in my friendships. I treat them like relationships of sorts. You know what I'm saying? And so in that vein, I can understand committing yourself to multiple people. But on a romantic plane, I don't think
It's not giving that. It's not giving that.
I don't think I
That's
could
fair.
do that.
That's fair because I feel that commitment. You got to commit
My God.
to more than one person. You
It's a
got to say I'm
lot.
going to be there for more
For
than one person. Like saying I'm going to be there for one person is a lot in itself. But saying I'm going to be there for you and you.
You're talking about physically,
like physically, emotionally, mentally,
Spiritually.
financially,
financially, on multiple. No, I don't think I can do that.
Today.
So committing myself to more than one person would be a lot, and I get jealous. So having an open relationship,
That's transparent.
and that, and if I get,
Come on, callback. It's a callback. It's a callback for me. Come on,
on
come
YouTube
on.
right
There it
now.
is. There it is. Come on.
That was good.
I got that joint in my Apple Music joint because of that. I got my
very
That's a
good.
good joint. That's a good joint.
Get a sample.
appreciate it, but
Jealous of the rain.
Oh, stop, y'all. Yeah. Let this man speak.
But if I know for me, it's like okay, well, I could. I was thinking one day, like, man, I could just make. Okay, I could do
you could
something
be Hugh
like
half
that.
out here.
And then I was like,
Hugh.
but if she did it, oh, I'd
That'd
be
be the
mad.
difference. That'd be the
And
difference.
because I believe that
Kev is nodding.
you gotta be fair.
That's another
You gotta be
segment?
fair.
That's a segment?
I'm okay saying
I can't wait to hear what you
I
guys saying. I
then
got some
I can
follow-up.
commit
I got
myself
some
to one
follow-up.
because I would never want you to do that. I couldn't handle it. Because I couldn't handle it, Nah, I couldn't handle the idea of knowing that you're going out on a date while I'm home.
Shout out
Go
to
out on a
self-awareness.
damn date.
Nah,
Self-awareness.
but I know I couldn't handle that.
Shit.
It's not working for this man.
So if I'm not going to do it,
I'm not here to sway your decision.
Hey, it's not. So
I was about to say something sideways. Anyway,
Don't do it.
Don't do it. No, that's
I'm not.
that because that was a conversation the last 9 months. I feel like that because polyamory has permeated a lot of our social media feeds.
very true.
Yeah.
Over the last
absolutely.
9 months, the pandemic. Let me say the pandemic, right? That really became a hot topic during the pandemic.
Niggas was
And-
bored.
yeah, you know what I'm
And
saying?
horny.
Legit, because we was home and had shit to do. People was available, whatever. But
let's be a throuple.
Yeah, I mean,
We all in the house anyway.
yeah, I
Damn.
mean, oh, you down the street? Oh, all right. But
We all in the house anyway.
I'm home at 2. What's up? But nah, but that self-awareness is a thing because there were a couple different points of the conversation, and one of the points of the conversation, I'm just addressing what just happened right now, was the idea that a lot, and Will talked about this also to an extent in the GQ article, is that he envisioned different people, different women being in a harem with him, right? But then he didn't detail what he went through with his therapist or the relationship therapist that he was talking to.
Yeah.
He didn't detail everything, but he said that when you count up those costs, I'm paraphrasing, when you count up those costs,
Yeah.
that's not what you really
Yep.
want. And I feel like
Yep.
that's one of the costs is that if particularly guys, because a lot of times those situations have systematically catered to guys,
yeah.
where you can you be one guy and you have multiple women,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And so it's like that caters to you, but if the shoe is on the other foot, where like you both were in a position where y'all both can do this thing,
Yeah.
then it's like, oh no,
That
I don't
changes
want, and
shit.
that's
That
the
shakes the
conversation that a lot of
Right.
what was happening a lot on social media during the pandemic is that well, if you can do this and y'all gonna be in a polyamorous situation, are you okay with your lady going out and finding another guy that can provide financially, emotionally, whatever it is,
Right.
any area that she feels like, oh, yeah, let me find this dude, we gonna get it in and be cool in this way and bond around this way. Are you cool with that? And some guys like, nah, well, they felt they got tight about it.
Yeah, it's like
you know what
ownership.
I mean?
It's like
It got
ownership.
tight. And I think it takes a lot of self-awareness to admit, like, no, I wanted this, but I don't want it because when I thought about it, when I count up the cost, I'm jealous.
If I'm gonna get tight,
I'm jealous.
then I might
You
as
know
well
what I mean?
just leave it.
I'm jealous.
Speaking of being tight, I think that this is a good.
Come on, cusp.
What the fuck is wrong with this woman, y'all? Where did I get her from?
Hey,
I think
Speaking of being dang.
well,
this is one of those things that is good to talk about, right? Because some people suppress what their truth is
that is also
and their
true.
feelings.
Very true.
And so many things in our lives are like tied to our ability to control our emotions, right? You being jealous is an emotional thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Did you
Oh,
turn your mic
please,
on?
please.
I don't know what happened.
Oh, no, she ain't cusping it hard enough.
Oh, push this in.
She ain't cusp. That's what she said. Put it in. Push it. Here, use this one.
Check the side. Check the
Yes,
side.
hold it out. Use your
Put it
mic. Thank you very much.
It's on.
There it is.
All right.
And the other mic
two
is
mics. Two mics. Show
and
your
the
skills.
other
Two
mic
mics.
is back.
Oh,
Yes.
That was a freaky ass comment. Dog.
Where's Meg?
Hey,
Hands on
that
my
was
knee.
freaky.
This other mic out of my face.
He said, "Look,
man.
put this second one in your face." What you
Pinky,
do?
come
What you
on.
do it
Swung
too?
it around. Pause.
Since we're talking about polyamory,
Come on, Pinky, let's go.
What can you handle?
No, but listen, I think that this gives room for people to work through their feelings. I've experienced being in a romantic level of a relationship, and the hardest thing to do is talk about like sexual desires and preferences. I think we just navigate around it and don't always fully disclose to our partner exactly what we require and what we desire. And so I just feel like I come to understand that both people may not be able to give one another everything, right? You can't get everything that you need from one person.
Yeah.
But if you feel like what you have is like stable and you value that stability, and it's genuinely love there, I think that it can be convenient.
Which
It depends on both parties. Like I said, you got to be headstrong and
That's
heartstrong
why-
equally.
Yeah, that's why for me, I led with saying I'm definitely open to exploring and having fun within the confines of monogamy. Like I'm committed to
Okay,
you,
yeah, I know
but
what you- yeah.
we can
as a
party
unit.
this joint. It's like no, I'm just.
No,
I mean,
legit.
you know what I'm saying?
Like,
yeah,
we
yeah.
can have a
Yeah.
threesome, or we
You not,
can.
yeah, I'm saying you're not.
We
you're
can
not,
play around.
As much as that sounded like a joke, like
No, legit.
No,
That's
but
what it is.
seriously,
We got to be comfortable talking
That
about
I
what
can
our
handle.
feelings.
Yeah,
And
That
I haven't,
can handle, and frankly, I
shared
would
my
expect.
viewpoint on it because empirically I'm not able to say
I'm sorry.
one way or the other. Oh my gosh.
because he said empirically.
is
Me,
like,
me,
you
so let me put it different. Ultimately, I'm
Oh, you
not
gotta
going to be able
dumb
to
it
say.
down. Damn.
Ultimately.
He said,
All
"Oh my God."
But so my thing is this because there's somebody in my life currently who what I'm able to kind of look at what they're being able to share. And what they're sharing is that how they may have felt at one point is not how they feel now. So there's sometimes transitions in your life that
Absolutely.
takes. And I don't, where I am now is not where I'm going to be in 10 years.
And the way
Like, you
I
know
feel
what I mean?
now is not the way I felt 10 years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
not.
like, so for me,
Very good.
I don't know exactly. Well, I'm not as judgmental because before I was very, very adamant, like, no. Right now, I don't know if I could maintain multiple people, but I don't know in 10 years from now where I'm going to be based
Yeah.
on life. Like, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? So I think
Very
sometimes
good.
even open relationships hit you at a different place in life based on experiences
Yeah.
or whatever. Your
Yeah.
age,
That
your
makes
sense
sense.
of agency,
Definitely.
your in tuneness with your body, your agency, all those different
life
things.
experiences.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like all those different things. So
Access.
I don't, it's access.
Yeah, because I don't
All those
imagine,
different
and
things.
this is mere speculation, but I don't imagine that Will and Jada, when they first got together, were like, yeah, let's just be fucking with anybody and everybody.
Yeah,
Except
no.
Jada.
I don't think it was giving
Well,
that.
Jada
Jada
did. Jada did. According
was
to
she
the,
for-
Because they
And that's
said that she
according
never
to
had
the
a
article.
she never had
conventional.
because of her upbringing. She's used to that dynamic. Yeah. But for him,
I don't even know
it
if
was
it's up to her
Right,
upbringing.
I
I think it
do
was
it.
just Jada, because
Yeah.
because Gammy be looking at her like, what the fuck?
I ain't raised you like that, girl.
I love you, Jada.
I love it.
Shout out to Jada. All right, so listen, we're running out of time, but overall, this was a pretty strong article. I was excited to read it and hear from Will Smith, which to me, Will Smith is just always a pleasure. He's
Yeah.
one of my favorite people to watch interview, honestly. And I didn't get to watch it. Obviously, we got to read it, but aside from again the no
to read
mustache, we got to read it.
We wasn't going to let you go out like
past
this,
tense.
sis.
Past tense.
You
Right.
know what she meant.
It's the
What did I
spelling.
say last time that you caught me on when I was doing your intro?
The Renaissance- Resident.
I really said that shit too. I listened back like, wow, that nigga was right.
Oh, that's French.
Aside again from the no mustache photos, I would say it was an all-around win for Will. Just please, Will, grow the mustache back, please,
Hey,
just
yo.
for me.
Yes.
Hey, yo.
Yeah, I agree with you,
That's
Chester.
funny.
But I do want to get into some other highlights quickly, from the article before we get out of here. Jerome, tell us about some other aspects of the article that stuck out to you.
One thing he talked about specifically was aging, and talking about just basically aging. And that's something that I look at a lot because we're all getting older, just naturally.
And he bared it. He bared it in his photos. too. He looked like somebody's uncle in them pictures. Fuck you talking about?
I mean,
Fucking tweed
It's the
pants.
mustache.
Okay, Will.
Them tweed pants cost
Wait,
more than
Fucking
Looking
fine.
like Common. Just some
I
tweet
ain't mad at it. I'm just
It's the
saying.
mustache.
He's aging. I ain't mad though.
there was there's a portion that I looked at specifically that kind of stuck out, and basically it leads to the importance of having people around you who are older who you can lean on in those moments. And he said he spoke to Denzel.
Yeah.
He would speak to
Yeah.
Denzel, and
Yeah.
specifically in the article it says,
good. I
I'm
like
quoting,
that
throughout the years I would always call Denzel. He's a real sage. I was probably 48 or something like that. I called Denzel. He said, listen, you got to
Funky
think of it as the funky 40.
40s.
Everybody's 40s are funky. And I thought, well, damn. Well, what do we call 30s? Because my 30s are like,
Thrusty 30s.
Hey, yo! What the fuck is up?
moving on.
Y'all better stop asking me questions.
Wow.
She's crazy.
But he
That's a
said,
good one.
just wait till you hit the fuck it 50s.
Yes.
He said, just bear with your 40s. And he, the funky 40s and the fuck it 50s. And it told me aging is a process.
Yeah.
And there are going to be times in your aging that you're going to feel like, I don't know what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
But throughout all of it, you have to ride it out.
Yeah.
Because eventually you're going to get to a place where it's like, fuck it. And that fuck it place is going to be a beautiful place just
Deloria
to rest. And she is over here going.
She's
Like,
about
fuck
to
it, ride it.
Yeah.
She's horny.
I'm ride it, thrust it.
on it.
Like a bop it. She a horny bop it. Thrust it.
It's okay.
we
Pull
edit
it.
that out?
Pull it.
We need to edit.
Bop it. Suck. All right. That was
Yeah, exactly. She talked about that. Suck it. I said it. I said it for
This
you.
episode is definitely rated X.
I love it. What episode isn't rated X that we
I
do?
mean, that's up to you
what
and your
about
kids.
you? Holden, anybody, you know,
Okay.
jump in.
Which one?
Within
It was a couple different things for me.
aspects of the article that stuck out to you.
I love when he said, I just want to encourage Black Americans to take the acknowledgement and
Oh my
seize upon
God.
the present global opportunities.
That's
He
mine, but I don't know
continued
if I
to
loved it.
say, I would like to just argue less about certain things and pay attention to the big, ripe fruit.
And what is your thoughts on that?
Yeah.
Well, that was
Get your life.
that was, so we're done with Deloria for the day. That was actually my excerpt as well, except I struggled. Well, let me just say this. Will Smith, you know, according to the article, he kind of like back-paced a little bit. But I'm going to read this directly from the article because I want to, it got interesting for me.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I like this.
He said, so abolish the police, defund the police. I would love if we would just say defund the bad police.
Yeah.
It's almost like I want, as Black Americans, for us to change our marketing for the new position we're in. So critical race theory, just call it truth theory. The pendulum is swinging in our direction beautifully, and there's a certain humility that will most capitalize. That will most capitalize on the moment for the future of Black Americans, without discounting the difficulty and the pain and the emotion. He said this is a difficult area to discuss, and this was something that stuck out. But I feel like the simplicity of Black Lives Matter was perfect. Anybody who tries to debate Black Lives Matter looks ridiculous. So when I talk about the marketing of our ideas, Black Lives Matter was perfection. And then he ended by saying, from a standpoint of getting it done, Black Lives Matter gets it done. Defund the police doesn't get it done, no matter how good the ideas are. I'm not saying we shouldn't defund the police. I'm saying just don't say that, because then the people who would help you won't. I can't say that I disagree with what he's saying. What I will say, I can't say that I disagree. I'm not going to say that I also agree. I'm not going to start
Two things
there.
are true at the same time.
Right. What I will say is, personally, I am glad that this now, as outside of doing my homework for today's show, I don't read GQ typically. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a GQ consumer. I'm glad that this happened on print for GQ as opposed to like a BET interview
Vibe.
you know what I'm saying, or
Jet.
Essence, or something that specifically targets the Black community, because you have to be careful. You got to be careful. Like, you know what I'm saying? Encouraging people to play nice, or encouraging people to, you know, like adjust their posture just because folks are opening their eyes to us, which is only happening as a result of things that have been going on for centuries now being made public due to the era that we're in and the age that we're in. It's all convenience, you know what I'm saying? And so I am a person that's hesitant to play to that. So that was my excerpt. I wanted to, you know, like pitch it to you guys to hear, like, how do you feel about him saying that? Go ahead, Holden. Everybody start looking at Holden
No,
because you did the lip
No,
smack
no,
thing.
no.
I look for you for the
y'all.
feels. Like, I look for you for, like, if I can't respond to something, I know, like, you got
it all.
you be having it in the bag.
It's two things are true at the same time. And your point you raised is, I also, when I read that, I feel a couple different ways about it. I'm glad it happened in GQ, but I feel a couple different ways about it. And I think for white Americans,
There you go.
for white Americans who,
Yeah.
Let me take it. Not even a step back. I'm gonna take a step forward because it was white
You
first.
didn't say
white.
white.
White. White.
For the whites.
For whites. I think September 11th was a great indication for us of our police state. And September 11th signified for us how the government will use police, Air Force, any man in a uniform to politicize and publicize patriarchy to this country, right? So if you say you're anti this or even to abolish or to modify something to a man in a uniform looks unpatriotic, and that's not the case at all. To speak against someone in a man in a uniform, that's not an unpatriotic act. It's not, actually. It's saying that because this is a democracy, we have the right to see when we're going the wrong direction, like Lauryn Hill said on MTV Unplugged. If you're going the wrong way, are you going to keep going the wrong way and crash into a wall? No, you're going to turn, right? So because we're a democracy, we're able to say this is not working for us. We have the right to pivot and change, right? So that's that. So because of that, I feel a multitude of ways about that because it can come off seeming like we're playing towards kind of dumbing down stuff and being like, okay, no, dumb down the language, tone down the rhetoric, which we hear a lot as Black Americans. We've heard that for decades and centuries. Tone down the rhetoric because you're not going to get people on your side. If you say this, it's too radical, it's too this, it's too that. So I get it. It's a hard line to walk. Yeah. But we've been walking it for many years.
I feel like there's a place for all of it. Because I think you need people on all sides. I think you need people who can, because Will Smith has always been very strategic from what you see, like even what he says, he's very careful with how that image is presented. They seem very meticulous in how they craft their images, that particular family, and him specifically. For sure. So I think he knew where he was.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that, actually. I didn't think about the intention behind him being, like, event ready.
Right. So, like, to me, like, because I remember when I read that, I was like, I can see how this will be taken as if he's playing to that side. Like he's whitewashing the message. But I understand what he's doing in that particular part. He can't go full. I think he leans towards.
Do you think he would?
Not publicly. I don't think he would do it publicly.
That to me sounds like, one of the other things that we were talking about with him being a people pleaser.
Yeah, he did say that.
That is something that I can relate to, oddly enough. I battle with it daily. I never want to, like, when I was younger, I never wanted to, like, disappoint my parents or anyone for that matter. And so, like, now, because he's been so successful, maybe he wants to, he already know, like, Black people going to stand behind him. It is what it is. So we may have a difference in opinion from a broader perspective in terms of his opinion, right? We might differ in some ways, but he, like Jerome said, is still playing to the whites.
I feel like because, Will Smith got mainstream money. It's very clear. His box office career has been fueled, by mainstream. It's very evident. And I personally, y'all know me. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like it was a bit of a missed opportunity. I don't know. Because
you want him to be, like, pro-Black?
I don't need him to be, like, as radical as me. I do understand, like, this man got bills and he got a career and there's media training.
There's different stakeholders.
Exactly. We're not even in the same tax bracket. I get it. Like, you feel what I'm saying? But that, and again, the reason why I'm pitching it to you guys, because again, I was kind of like just unsure how it made me feel. Like, I do know when I read the entire article front to back, and when I got to this point, I experienced some unrest.
Agreed.
You know what I mean?
I agree too.
I just was like, ooh,
you don't agree in its entirety.
But I think that's indicative of just the line that we as Black people in America, or Black people, have to walk. Right. When we get in certain places and spaces and places, even when you do hit certain tax brackets, there's a line to walk. Yeah. There's a line to walk. And I feel like Barack did it because Barack was another one. I know he and his wife both grew up in Chicago. Like, you know what I'm saying? They were in different parts in Chicago, but they both grew up in Chicago. Yeah. And when you watch their documentaries, when you read their books, all these different things, you see they get it. They get it, but there's presentation that you have to have.
Yeah.
There's a way you have to. There's a diplomacy you have to
Yeah.
when you speak, whether in
I know that word.
print media,
I do.
in print media, on video, whatever. There's a diplomacy you have to have.
Yeah.
So there's a line to walk, and he does that very well.
I think so.
This is a bit
This is
of
my
an
first
aside.
time hearing him speak on the
Yeah.
Black
I
Lives Matter
think, but,
situation.
but to that point,
It was like, with this being your first time,
but with this being your first time, I actually appreciate that we got that.
Yeah, you got to
Because
take it slow when it's your
for
first.
me,
it was his
it's
first
like-
time and it was for GQ.
But it's his first time, and it's for GQ.
Exactly.
And he has a
Like-
wide audience,
Right.
And they said that because he was the one.
No, you're right, you're right.
To go from an MC to a syndicated show, like he had a
Come on, talk
syndicated
about the
sitcom.
trajectory.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's immediately, right? Immediately to go from being an MC to having a show that not just we liked,
Right.
but that it said in the article, even white people,
Oh,
and globally, the reach for the
This
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was
fly.
no,
sorry.
it was
Yeah,
global.
right.
So there's
Disrespectful.
there's different stakeholders.
Yeah,
like, you
maybe
know what I'm
he's-
saying? There's different stakeholders.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Perhaps he can. He feels like because it's his first time speaking on it, and because he did it in such a modest way that maybe if people are receptive to it when I come back out, I'm gonna
Yeah, I
come.
can take
It's
it on another
nuanced.
level.
It's
Yeah.
nuanced, right?
I respect Will Smith at the end of the day. I really do.
Can I share?
Yes. Yes.
So I just want to real quick before we transition. I do want to share my little excerpt.
I
From the
wasn't going to
article.
skip you, baby.
Oh,
I was not going to skip you.
speak up. I'm trying to be
Skip you. Come on with it. What was the excerpt?
I don't want to be swallowed up.
Speak for yourself, God damn it!
Something wrong with these
Said no man ever. I don't want to be swallowed up. All right, go ahead.
Enough.
Like Ahab in
All right, I'm gonna stop.
Oh my God!
No,
that's
that's a book.
That's Moby
Moby
Dick.
Dick.
Ernest
Yeah.
Hemingway.
Oh.
Ernest Hemingway.
I thought you meant like
But-
the book.
Like
Anyway.
Jonas in the
That's
wilderness.
Jonah.
Jonah is the word.
I didn't read
Come
my.
on.
Oh
Come
my
on. It's a quicken. It's a quicken.
No.
We're not recording on Sundays no more because this shit is out of control.
All of our recordings
All
on
of y'all
Sundays. ladies and
spiritual bullets.
right. Each and every one. But no, so my
have
excerpt was
mercy.
your point you brought up towards the end of your statement about people pleasing. The interesting thing that I thought was highlighted in this article is that art is a good placeholder, but it is not a good substitution for therapy. And so he talked about a situation where
At me next
That
time.
was for me. That was for me. Can you just say that again? Would you mind?
so
At
art,
me next
art is
time,
a
Will.
great placeholder, but not a substitution for therapy.
Very good.
And so he in the article he talks about for the first time publicly that I know of, and maybe they said in the article as well, his relationship with his father, things that he experienced growing up. There's domestic violence in the home.
Yep.
Also, the opportunity to circle back in his memoir or his book. That was the opportunity to bring the 26 stakeholders in the people who shared experiences with him in his life to have them before he released the book to talk about these experiences and if they were comfortable with their narrative because
Right.
it affected them being shared. So it was the first time he was able to talk to his mom publicly about some of these things. And he said for a few weeks it was very uncomfortable for him. So for me, because of that influenced how he crafted his public image, how he crafted things he wanted to be a part of. I would imagine even to say even the roles he wanted to take as in the beginning, wanting to be the hero, right? Because he felt as though he was silent and his brother stood up, his sister fled, he did nothing. He was frozen, which is that's a response. It's fight, flight, or freeze.
Yeah.
Those are the three.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that all siblings exhibited one of the three. But it's not a
break a
substitution.
thing down.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have to be the one. But you know what I mean?
Balance.
It's a good placeholder. Art is a great placeholder because so many of us have experienced trauma. We've
Yeah.
experienced very hardships,
Yeah.
a lot of difficult things. And art has been this great vehicle for us
Yeah.
to move through life, to have a sense of agency, to find confidence, to do a lot of things. But it is not a substitution for therapy. It's not.
Yep.
And so the fact that he was able to name that this is what happened and this is what it led me to do in my career, I thought that was such a big and monumental thing to name that. So for me, that was what stuck out to me. I was like, oh shit, wow. That was such a heavy moment for me.
Yeah.
With that, do you think that that's also like the aspect of his life that you feel like you can identify most with, or is there another? And then that's for anyone.
I do.
Yeah.
Because
Just knowing you, I feel like
that I feel like a lot of, especially in the creative and performing arts, and as black kids, as poor black kids, because before he made it, he was a poor black kid.
Absolutely.
Even though he was in Winfield, he was still a poor black kid. I don't care.
Winfield.
I don't care. Yeah.
At the time, they was a little bit of an upper echelon.
Maybe 70s.
At the time.
Yeah, but
One of the things.
I just feel like for us, a lot of us. Yep.
Right.
One of the things that I relate to is him the way that he rears his children that we were talking about, right? I know the generation before us, well, my parents anyway, they don't particularly like that I give my children choices. Yeah. Now, while I don't let them just do things haphazardly, they're toddlers, for God's sake.
Right.
I do.
Shout out to Lincoln Love.
Yeah. What's up, y'all? And Cyrese.
You shouldn't be listening to this.
And Cyrese, but you said the toddlers. That's the only reason why I didn't say Cyrese, because you said the toddlers.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, I give Cyrese some choices now, too, and it's so hard right now with him being a teenager. But I do admire how much freedom they allow their children to have. Yeah. I'm sure it's frowned upon, but that's one of the things that I relate to the most is being able to allow your children to make decisions as children. Yeah. And so when they become adults, I know for me, I felt like because all of my decisions were made for me, it makes me an indecisive adult.
That's good.
But
we unpacking some shit on tonight.
Yeah.
Come on.
My God.
But some people might feel differently. Some people might feel but for me, I want my children to be able to be grown and adults and be able to say, yes, I like that, and no, I don't want that. You know what I mean?
Can I speak to that?
That's
point?
something I struggle to.
Can
Absolutely,
I speak to that point?
Please.
So, and I'm not going to even limit it to white. In a lot of affluent homes, they give their teenagers credit cards, and while we will look at that as something that's very irresponsible, we take out bills in our kids' names, but they actually, but they give their children credit cards, their teenagers credit cards. And the thing is, so by the time they're 25,
I'll give my team one.
You know what I'm saying? They have already worked through that. Oh, this is cash. Let me spend it. When we first get a credit card in our 30s, we're like, oh shit, money. I can pay it back later. I'm swipe.
I'm not even going to talk about my relationship.
We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that. But they go through that in their adolescent years.
I don't have
so that by the time they mature 25, they're in a place where they know the nuances of dealing with. Okay, now I'm not going to wait for the bill to come. I need to have this paid before the bill comes because that's not what the credit card company's looking for. They're not looking for you to pay it when the bill is due.
Do it 15 days and 3 days before the due date.
So do the balance before it's due so that the credit, oh shit, you're on time with your shit. So they get that earlier on.
Thank you for saying affluent and not white.
Not white. Right.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I was just piggybacking off your point about choices.
Yeah, I agree.
One of the things that I feel like I not only identify with most about Will Smith's life, but am most inspired by, is I guess it's twofold. Despite the trajectory, I like that word today, of his career and his successes. First of all, I really admire his grind, as strategic as it is. He's always working. Like, he's always, since I've been following him on social media, he's always promoting something. Movies that I'm like, what is this? Okay, now he got the Emancipation coming out. Before it was Gemini Man. I love the grind. I love the hustle and the focus of it. But he's always got this very down-to-earth energy. It's very grounded energy to me. I don't feel like if I cross paths with Will Smith in person that he would give off an air of celebrity.
I don't think so either.
You know what I'm saying?
It says that in the article, too, is that when he... when they seen a whole bunch of people, like he stopped and gave everybody autographs, he took pictures and smiled with every single person.
Yeah, I feel like that's authentic
to
him, and I identify with that. And inspired by that. I love that. What about you, Jerome?
I think the willingness to evolve with time, because he talks about his foray into social media.
Yeah.
And getting into social media and understanding it and then
Child,
learning
you got into
and
social media
and then studying.
Come on over, Jerome. Come on over into the social media world, Jerome. Okay, we miss you in social media land. I'm sorry. Let me let you finish.
I used to hang around there a lot.
Will Smith
I got Twitter jail journeys, but the thing.
Twitter excluded because you already
on Twitter jail before. But
he done did a bid.
I did bids in that joint. several. They shut me down. Shut up for an hour.
That's why I
You
can't be
can't
on
talk.
Twitter. I be saying stuff left.
I just recently took a Twitter break because I was drawn on Twitter.
But yeah, like it gets to but learning how to use that to your advantage as opposed to just posting. You know what I'm saying? Like learning how to strategically post. He was saying like who he studied. The girl Liza, I forget her last name, but yeah, the pretty Indian girl. She's
Shout
really
out to her.
pretty, really attractive. Hey,
Tell
girl.
us more. Tell us more, Jerome. Tell us more.
Like, what are we talking about here?
He's like shooting his shot. Shooting his shot through the podcast. You see me? He's like, you pretty
Somebody
I was about to say.
girl.
Right,
What's
right.
up, girl? What's up? How you doing? So the thing is, but yeah, but studying that,
Y'all silly.
studying social media people, social media influencers, and learning how they maneuver that space, and then jumping in and seeing what he's done with it. After, like he's taken that
Absolutely.
he's like the king of social media.
Yeah,
he
it really
It's like
is.
he's beyond the age of those
I
the
love it.
normal age of a social media influencer, but he's the king of it.
Yeah.
He does it better than everybody else.
Way better.
And to see that evolution of a person who was not in that era, who was not familiar with the space, to learn it, grow in it, and it tells me just you can evolve.
And maximize and monetize.
Yeah, you can evolve.
Facts.
Evolve
Big
it in your
facts.
evolution. You're absolutely right. Maximize and monetize your
Absolutely.
evolution while still learning, while still being able to create, by
for
still
sure.
being yourself.
Yes.
And
Very
that
good.
spoke to me. a
Very
lot.
good. Thank you for sharing that. You know, y'all, I really enjoyed this episode.
I did too.
today.
This was a very
good.
pleasant,
Yeah, like,
Yes, thanks for having us
I
in your
appreciate-
space.
me? This ain't my space.
No, the people that's
The
listening.
listeners.
I hope you enjoyed it. Is what I wanted to.
No, yeah, no, true. And
This was
fill
good.
your cup up. Fill your cup up, loyal
Yeah,
listeners
yeah.
at home. I think there's some in here.
No, it's
Jerome
not.
just took it.
I did.
Okay, well, there's this.
I have that.
We just paid
Rum.
for it. If you go to
that should
YouTube,
be
you can
fine.
see what's going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of bottles being passed around.
Because
right
that's
now.
what needs to be going on in your house right now. I need you to fill
At
your
8 o'clock
cup.
in the morning.
It's
Tap
happy
hold-
hour anytime.
Tab Holden's glass too. He just stepped away real quick. I want to raise a toast. I really, really, really appreciate all that was shared today. I love you guys so much. We are nearing the end of season 3. And I really feel like this has been my favorite season thus far.
Yeah, this is
I don't
good.
want to slight, any of the original teammates or anything like that have been a part of growing this
evolving.
brand. But it's very much in a ripe place this season, and I appreciate that. So I want to raise a toast.
I was gonna sing something I can't.
Come on, no, render us a
Because it's R.
selection.
Right on
Kelly.
time.
R. Kelly's
Oh,
in it.
God.
Oh my.
So what? What's the song?
Well, what's the song? Is it his song?
It was
Listen, he
it was a
in
full
jail at this
circle
point.
moment. Nope. It was the
Go,
Kirk
go,
Franklin
go,
joint with R. Kelly and
Go,
Kelly.
go, go.
Wait,
I am here.
Yep.
Kirk Franklin has a
You
song with
don't
R. Kelly?
have.
Yeah, Lean on Me.
Oh yes,
He
I
is
love
in
this.
this
No,
song.
Because you
I'm
said
playing
no
that song.
slight to anybody before, and I'm just like, well,
I
love
it's
this. I love
because
this.
But you see how you would have to
I'm
erase memories of your own?
No, I'm playing that song though. I
I'm
like
just saying,
that song. That's
like,
a
that's
Kirk
crazy.
Aaliyah's
Franklin
first album.
song though.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I
Well,
had R.
wait.
Kelly's part in church when we sang Lean on Me.
Can you believe? Can you
That's not a
imagine?
surprise.
Can you imagine life without I believe I Can Fly or
My fifth grade
The
graduation would have
eighth
been
grade
different.
graduation.
or You Are
That's
Not
my-
Alone? He wrote that song for Michael Jackson.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
He did.
Yes.
He actually recorded a version
I actually
later
hate
on
that
for
song.
that too.
Do you?
It was so pervy.
That's
that was super
hilarious.
pervy to me when I was a kid. That turned me off of Michael Jackson as a kid. That was so pervy.
Like
Because he had that white T-shirt with the white button-up joint. I'm like,
Oh yeah, he was birdie. He was real
Why
bird
would you
chested.
say? I actually hate that song.
What we toasting to? Because I'm ready to take this
I
drink.
got you. All right, so here's to the 3-season life. Y'all listening?
Yes.
Choice, chance, and change. Okay? You must make the choice to take the chance if you want anything in life to change. Cheers to y'all. The 3-season life.
Love you guys.
Major shout out to The Loft. We was able to come back
Yes,
to
thank
our
you
first
so much
home.
for having
Shout out
us.
to Erica Mack. Major shout out. Make sure y'all connect with The Loft for all of your events at lofteventsphilly.com. Make sure you guys connect with us, of course, on Twitter and Instagram at the JL Podcast. And once again, I need y'all to join me October 4th, 5th, and 6th, live on WURD 96.1 FM, 900
Sunday,
AM,
Tuesday,
and
Wednesday.
Facebook Live at WURD. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, until next time,
Till tomorrow, because y'all go tune in.